already going to be driving like a lot farther to come to Apple Valley. So even if they say, oh, we have a position down in Rancho or whatever, if he refuses it because if it's like a certain miles past, it's like a certain distance from your house.
A coconut.
Yeah, but then you can
Okay, let's
take
make a
the lid
pile.
off and still get the full pig.
Grapes.
That's what it used to be. Because instead of like saying, oh, well, no, I don't want to work there, it's like by mileage. Like, so say you got offered there and they offered him even farther away, you would just say, that's not feasible for me. That's what it used to be. Well, if they changed it.
Grapes.
That sucks, though.
Grapes. Piles of grapes.
Yeah, I mean, since he's not earning, we've known them forever.
Okay, this I used the knife. Okay, another one. Okay, give me one. Don't see my grapes. My tongue.
Yeah, we used to go camping with him. They're good people. And then their son, Ernie Lee. It's because it's daytime still, or light out. It throws
Cut
me
the
off.
grape.
It's nice, but it doesn't get dark, I think, until 7:30.
2 cuts of grapes. Two pieces of coconut. 3 pieces of coconut.
Yeah.
5 pieces of coconut.
I didn't get much done in my house.
3 pieces of
Well, I was at the
coconut.
dentist this morning, and then after I did that, then I'm
1
Monday through
more
Wednesdays are
piece
always
of
busy.
coconut.
I'm off those days.
We have to put it back.
I'm running around back
Coconuts
really
back
and forth,
together.
taking the kids to school.
Coconuts
Because
back
Emily starts at 9,
together.
then Addison starts at 11:30, and then Addison gets out at 2:40, and then Emily gets out at 3:40. So it's like I'm
This
literally
goes
back and forth, back and forth,
connected.
back and forth.
No.
And then I have Jace. So
This one. Yes. Coconut.
yes.
Coconut.
He's like such a boy. He's just like, just toddlers are in things, but like boys are in everything. They have to touch everything. They have to be everywhere all the time. I'm like, you're making me tired. I took him with me to the dentist this morning and I was like, oh my gosh. It was crazy. He just wanted to touch everything. He wanted to get into the chair with Addison. He wanted to touch all the dentist stuff. I had to hold him and he's screaming because he wants down.
Cut.
And I had forgotten my phone, so I'm going to distract him with Mickey and sit down and have him watch an episode of Mickey while we're waiting. But I forgot my phone at the house. I was like, no. So,
I'm just
he
gonna
was
put
good.
over
He was
here.
just super antsy. Because I could be in the waiting room, but Addison's really anxious about the dentist, so I always make sure I stay back there. So.
Hey, Uncle Lucas is your nephew.
Yeah, because like I'll stand back there when they take her x-rays and I go back there
Well, I know you
when I
live
clean your
Carol.
teeth and then I just wait for the dentist.
Oh, so it's different because it's your wife. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I really like the dentist office. We've gone there.
I'm sorry. I know you're my boss,
Just like
but
to
seriously,
remember
you
what
get to get the
it is.
hell out of my face.
Put that over
And
there.
I've taken them.
Cut.
It's a kid's dentist and they do like it's like all kid friendly. Like it's all decorated with like kiddie cartoons and everything on the wall. They have the TVs on the ceiling that you can watch cartoons. They always have cartoon movies above the chairs and all that. So it's really kid friendly. And they're nice.
I mean, look at all my pineapples. Take a piece of a grape.
That's
your
where
so
every
you
orthodontist
just have
is.
to. These are in the side.
Yeah, so it works out. It's just right over there by the Target.
Great job.
Yeah, I think there's an adult one that they're linked to that's right next door.
Ah,
I never run to the adult side, but the kids one is right there by the grocery store.
there.
Yeah.
Kiwi. A grape. Out made this cut.
I thought she was done with the rehab.
There. And when I know how to cut like grapes, move these off
Yeah.
to the side. Ta-da. There. Put those to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
this thing. One
Yeah.
more.
I
cut karate
think that's
chopping.
exactly what I think.
Emily, these grapes are yucky, so don't touch.
She just uses the tripping thing as an excuse. Yeah.
Ha. Pieces of bread.
Well, I told her at Grandma, I said, you should get one of those watches that has the little seat in it. And she's like, that's the one I have. I said, because that's perfect. I said, because then you can walk, and then when you get tired, you just sit on it. Because I have, I trip, that's what she exactly just told me. I trip over it all the time. I can't move it. And I was like, what? I feel like that, I told her, I said, I feel like that looks like better than you having to take one of those ride-around scooters. That makes you look completely incapable. At least with a walker, you're independent.
The only thing that remains are the things that have stood the test of time. Love, values, and of course,
Pink.
the strongest shape ever
Squishy.
constructed. A shape that fits all other shapes inside of it. No, it's true. This
Yep.
is the future because this is the past.
Well, people, yeah, you know that people would just make their excuses. But sometimes
Unemployment.
they need,
I've been in a relationship that tore my heart apart.
and that's why I had this one lady yesterday, and she was only 52 years old, and she almost died of a heart attack.
I cried the whole
And
time.
so she had to get stents put in and stuff, and I told her, she decided like a couple of years ago to stop taking all her medications. And I was like, you sound like my dad.
This is what the pyramid
And I go, listen, and I go, she's like, yeah, we were just having my grandkid's birthday party in my house yesterday. I thought I just stressed myself too much putting furniture away. I didn't even think about it. And her kids made her come to the ER. And I said, you realize that if your kids didn't get you into this ER, you probably wouldn't be talking to me right now. So you would have been dead.
The pyramid.
And she was like, I know, that's what the doctor said. And I said, and it's true. I go, especially the blockage you had was very deadly. I go, and you're not taking your medications because she's like afraid of the doctor. I guess her mom died.
Oh, I don't want to
She
mix
was taking a
it.
bunch of meds or something like that. And I said, well, I get that. I get your fear. I get not wanting to take a bunch of meds. I said, but you know, everybody's different. Don't let anybody say anything. Because people are telling me, oh, if you're on anxiety meds, you're going to be on forever. And it does stuff to you or whatever. And I said, you know what? Everybody's body's different. And if you need anxiety meds to help you function, and I said, I can guarantee you you're probably not sleeping very well if you're anxious all the time. She goes, no, if I hardly sleep at all. I said, well, that's bad for your body. I go, the anxiety is bad for your heart. Yeah, I said the constant anxiety all day long and all night long is bad for your heart and the rest of your body. I go, all of that is destroying and deteriorating your body more. I go, you want to be around for your grandkids, right? And she started crying. And I go, I'm only being hard on you because I'm being honest with you. I go, because these are bad things that can happen because you're choosing not to go to the doctor because you're scared. I said, we're all scared. We all have to do things that we don't like to do. I go, but you need to do it because if you don't, then your body's just gonna destroy itself. Like she's diabetic, she stopped taking her diabetic meds. I said, you know that your body's slowly killing itself probably with high sugars by destroying your arteries, which could be why you had a heart attack. I go, and you can end up on dialysis, you can end up on all this stuff. I said, you don't understand how bad diabetes can be and what havoc it causes on your body. I go, she stopped taking cholesterol meds. I said, well, that could cause you a heart attack. And I was like, all this stuff, like she was telling me all these different things that we're going through her history. She's like, well, I feel this way, but I've never been officially diagnosed. I feel this way, and I haven't. I said, because you don't go to the doctor, you need to go. I said, you're too young to be almost dying. And so she's like, you're right. And so when I left, I told her to calm down and stop crying and stuff. But like later in the evening when I was leaving last night, I just told her, I told her bye, and I said, I'm leaving for the night. I said, you take care of yourself. And I said, you better make sure you do what we talked about. And she looked at me and kind of laughed, and she goes, I promise. She's like, I'm going to. And I was okay.
Acceptance.
Yeah. Sometimes you kind of, like I'm harsh with people sometimes. But honest. Depending on the scenario. Some people just need to hear it. Like the doctor should just tell her, you know, I understand you're saying this, but you're just making excuses. And you need to just do it. For your safety, for your health. Do you want to live longer or do you want to die younger? How long are you off till?
Hace 2
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Can you get the remote?
You're not coming? I handpicked you from a roster of those 70 candidates.
Yeah. And you can get paid for it. Well, you don't. Well, she can try to do whatever she wants. But at least you're getting some kind of income.
So the fish guy, right? Oh yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Well, too, because if you didn't have income from Albertsons, then you should qualify for insurance.
He'll be his nanny, his keeper, his best friend. He never goes out unsupervised. Oh.
Yeah.
No. Don't cut it. Don't fit in places.
Yeah, 60 years old by our count, but he doesn't age like we do.
I think it's kind of crazy that she ended up moving and then all this stuff happened. Yeah, I think she had told me that she would be like for her birth, but it didn't get as bad as until she was up here for like a couple months, I think. I had to go to the ER. That probably didn't help.
Well, you did break up.
I learned this year.
It is. You got yourself on TV again.
Myers, huh?
Really?
Yeah, first name, Myers.
John Myers.
A heart cake?
John.
Who, Uncle Bill? Oh.
There.
Look at them ugly suckers, Blue. One sheet of glass between us.
Story of my life.
Outside, the outside. I mean, outside is her.
No, no.
Don't get psychic with me, fella. Nothing psychic about it. You're easy. Look at a girl and drive around.
I know, it's always something.
It is
I know, it's like, oh, do I need to clean my bathroom? So, yep, I just
You
cleaned
don't
it.
take kids.
I think I cleaned it again. And bathrooms.
Okay, guys, let's sync up our locators.
That's a good idea.
Seal the doors. Red and blue are coming in.
Yeah.
Alarm was tripped. A large entity, type 5 reported. Very aggressive.
It's just like such a process. I'm like,
Double check.
already again.
Start with blue. Oh.
Propane.
No!
It's the same way. That guy used to do propane.
Pie in
He
pieces.
always did charcoal.
Like that.
What's up, kid?
Make the
Yeah,
X's.
that's better.
Don't you have a postcard?
Don't quite.
A prison. The Vatican deemed its occupants dangerous enough to include it on the list of having, of which, by the way, we
Yeah.
Perfect job for these days. And myself.
I hope his sugars have been getting better. I haven't been that eating lately. Oh, good.
Behind this door, a dark entity. Evil, ancient,
Oh, really?
and hungry.
Oh well. Let me go in and say hi.
Why do you play it so good? Ding.
Yeah, at least he went back to his routine of checking his sugar and stuff. Well, because he thought when he was sick, I'm sure it wasn't the top of his priority anyways, but that could end him up in the hospital, because he's like, it shouldn't be high if I haven't eaten in 4 days. And I said, Dad, when you're sick, that's when you're supposed to take your meds and check your sugar the most. And he goes, yeah, and he said,
Hey,
when he finally checked it, it was 320. And he was like, how is it that high if I haven't eaten anything? And I said, because of your stress and the infection and whatever you got going on with your body.
man. You're gonna need some heavy fiber to move that.
I found something. This entity's name is Samael, the Desolate One. Found in their garden, rather.
Listen, Sam. Not a very good shot, but the Samaritan here, you really big book. What do you say we work this out?
I lost you.
Peaceful. Not pressure.
Yeah.
That's it for you, Sam.
Well, I looked into the zeros because I was going to lecture my dad about it. And it actually, the Gatorade Zero, I actually looked into the all the contents of it. And I'm sure it's not something you should be supplementing and drinking 24/7 like he does. Instead of drinking water and maybe just substituting if you wanted a soda, having one of those. But it's not, it's different than like a regular Gatorade. It doesn't have like all the carbs and all the stuff that turns into sugar. It doesn't have all that. Cause I was gonna lecture him about it because he was like, no, it's fine. It's Gatorade Zero. The second he tells me it's Coke Zero. like, it's not the same. But then when I looked at the Gatorade Zero, there's nothing in it that, it's like the best thing for a diabetic. That's the best option, I guess you could say, for a diabetic to drink. Because there's not stuff in it that really turns into sugar.
Karate chop.
Or the
Karate chop.
percentage of soda.
Karate chop.
Yeah, because you have to look and see if there's like carbs and there's different things in there that will be processed into sugars in your body. Because so even though it doesn't have technical sugar, it has stuff that'll turn into sugars in your body. And your body breaks it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little thing.
Yeah, I think it's like the aspartame and something else. There's different things that your body processes it and it increases your sugar. I don't think it does that I recall because I was like amped up and I was like looking at all the stuff and the ingredients and all this stuff because I was going to lecture them about it and I was like, darn it. And I told them that I was really going into lecturing you a lot about this and I couldn't because it doesn't have much in there. But I think it has like a very small percentage of stuff compared to like other things. So I told him, I said, if you're gonna drink it, it's not as bad as something else. But like when he was sick, that's all he drank. So that's not good. So I got nothing, and I always told him, I said, okay, it is better than anything else. I said, but nothing's better than water. He's like, I know. I told him, I said, I don't want you to die. I appreciate it if you didn't die at 57. It's a little too young to be dying. And and I found out when I took my, because I used to have to go see a nutritionist when I was pregnant with James, and I had the gestational diabetes. And she said, if you want like something sweet, she said, I'll do the crystal, you can do the crystal light, but you know they only have the liquid ones? The liquid ones, the liquid crystal light that you can squeeze into the bottles, it doesn't have the aspartame and something else in it that turns into sugar. So it's actually better for you to where the powder ones do have that.
They're cheap. They're unintuitive.
So for whatever reason, the liquid ones don't. So that's what I would do when I was pregnant. I would use the liquid ones, which I kind of like better anyways because you can like instead of because I usually don't like using a whole packet of crystal light because it gets too like sweet or bitter. Yeah. So I only use like maybe a quarter or like half to 3/4 of it, and so I have leftover to where the liquid you can control it by how many squirts you put in there. So I actually liked it better.
That's what happens when people don't eat carbs. They start seeing
So
fake.
I did learn a couple things when I saw the nutritionist. They always told my dad to see me.
The kids menu. PG-13, April 12th.
AI unlocks the art of self.
I need a schedule for my I try to stay up on it even though I hate it. Before I used to have to force myself to do it because I couldn't get more birth control unless I went. But now I don't do that because my tubes are shut. Yeah. Well, and I actually stopped taking birth control probably, I think it was after Addison, because that's when Rosanna, no, it was before Addison, because that's when Rosanna had gotten sick. And it's like I was already having like body issues and stuff when I was on birth control. I gotta have like thoughts during my periods and stuff. And so they put me on the lowest dose one, and it was better, but I was still having problems. And so that, and then the longer you're on it, the higher risk like uterine cancer and all that. So I was like, and she Well, now I don't have to worry about anything. I said, now I don't have to worry about anything.
Later.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where are you?
I just tried thinking.
So now I don't have to worry
Listen,
about
tell Father I'll be home.
Oh, wait.
You Myers?